Weeping may endureth for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this Triumphant Thursday. Father God, give us this day our daily bread. Jehovah Jireh, our provider. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Hold your hand upon us, Father God. Protect us. Touch those that are all struggling in the physical realm with their health. Those that are fighting COVID, Lord, give them strength and healing in Jesus' name. I want to talk about something that can be very challenging, and that is breaking a vice. Now, breaking a vice, and I've watched this happen. The people that look at somebody that has a vice, there's a lot of judgment on them. And they'll say something like, why don't they just stop? What are they thinking? What are they doing? And then they'll tell the person, you just need to stop. And that doesn't work. That's not going to work for somebody that has a vice. I remember hearing this as a young man, and the term would be pray about it. Pray about it. And I remember thinking, okay, we need to pray, I get it. But somebody on a vice needs instructions, they need steps. You cannot just remove something from somebody, or somebody remove something from themselves without replacing it with something. You can't just say, I'm taking this out of my life. It has to be replaced with something, not with another vice, but with something that we'll call positive. I'll give you an example. Alice Cooper, I think most of you know who he is, was an alcoholic, and then he was a drug addict, and he fell really deep into a depression, and he began to lose everything. His father, I believe, was a pastor here in the Arizona community. He does many things to help people. But what he did is he went to the Lord. He went back to seeking the Lord, and he replaced his vice with golfing. So he started golfing 6 days a week to replace his vice. People don't know this, but Alice Cooper no longer, and this has been a long time now, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't do any of these vices. He's switched it up and he plays golf every day. Well, some people say, well, that ain't right. Well, to me, if that's what he replaced it with, he's better off golfing than doing drugs. And golf is an expensive sport and it's time consuming, but he has the luxury to have time and money to do that. So that's what he does. And you'll find him in the different courses around the Arizona area. But that's what he did. Some other person, it may be fishing. They may go fishing all the time. Well, all he does is fish. Or maybe he has a car and he works on his car all the time. I'm talking about men here. But they have to find another outlet. Well, what about the Lord? Well, the Lord needs to be part of that. That's where we start. But we have to have something else to build on also. But having a vice is a ritual. It's a routine. It's a process. It's a practice. It's a negative one, but it's still one. You have to now flip the script and change your process, your practice, your rituals. There has to be a system to follow. That's why many men, when they go to jail and eventually prison, men that do, they find themselves able to break vices. Why? I say it this way, the Lord is more in jail than he's not, or in prison. No, what happens is they find a routine. They find a structure. And they begin to follow that structure and they break a vice with the help of the Lord, yes. Then they come out And people think they're doing them a favor and say, hey, do whatever you want. We love you. No, they have to stay on their routines. If their routine is whatever it is, that we should understand and say, okay, they have to get up at 6 in the morning. They have to do their exercises. They have to follow these, because that's their ritual that keeps them structured and helps them replace a vice. And a vice can be many things. It just doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. I just used Alice Cooper. I just pulled them out. A vice can be many things that takes away from our lives. And sometimes you'll look at someone and say, don't they love their family? And we could question that. Yes, they do love their family. Maybe there's some that don't, but that's few and far between. But you also got to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you won't come out of things. Part of coming out of things is saying, I love myself too much to do this to myself. And say, I want to break this vice, whatever it might be. And then begin to have the rituals, have the system. And all of us need to understand when someone finds that, to not tell them, you don't need to do that. If they go to church 3 times a week and say, well, you don't need to be going to church 3 times a week. I have watched that happen. And I'm thinking, that person does, because it helps them to have their structure. Well, I don't need to go to church 3 days a week. Well, that could be you, but it may not be the next person. And I watch this happen when other people try and tell somebody, especially someone that's come off of vice, tell them what they don't need. Because just because one person can live in a certain thing, I'll give you another example. Somebody could go into, let's say, they don't drink alcohol. They could go into a sports bar. I say sports bar like a place you eat food and go eat chicken wings and be fine. But somebody that used to be an alcoholic, they might not be able to go in there. Say, no, it's fine. But see, we don't know. And we don't know what somebody can walk into and not walk into, what somebody can listen to or not listen to, what somebody can watch and not watch. We can't tell them it's okay because their life may not allow it. The previous president, George Bush, he won't do anything near alcohol. He wouldn't allow them to make desserts with alcohol in it. And people say, well, it burned me, because he struggles with alcohol. So he's like, don't even get it near me. Where somebody else, it may not even faze them, but it's 2 different people. So when somebody finds a routine or ritual that works for them, we have to let them do that to the best of their benefit, because breaking a vice is finding a ritual or routine or process of practice. Thank you for joining us on this Triumphant Thursday, and remember, joy cometh.